Did y'all see that video of that girl asking how all the OG influencers were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month and now they're broke and
Six
even
figures last year as a content creator, and this year it's been crickets.
Yeah, they think every influencer is a billionaire, but these influencers are all broke.
So I am an influencer who 3 months ago decided to get a full-time job because I'm just not a fan of doing influencer.
Did y'all see that video of that girl asking how all the OG influencers were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month and now they're broke and e-begging on TikTok? Like, what happened to all that money? So as somebody who accumulated over 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube back in 2015, and I was literally living in LA, so I witnessed a lot of this, I'm going to give you guys the breakdown on what happened with that money. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but just what I've seen. When I moved out there, I thought I was pushing it with my $2,000 one-bedroom apartment, but I had people living in the same building, just at the top floor. I was on the third floor, but they were at the top floor paying $20,000 a month. And then I had some friends that lived in mansions just for the sole purpose of wanting to be able to throw parties and have people come over and make content in there. Literally paying people's yearly salaries, like $30,000, $40,000 a month just to rent this huge house. So for those of you that were also wondering, like, why do a lot of these influencers have big houses, but they're fucking empty? Not even joking, to get some good quality furniture in there, it's gonna cost you like $500,000. And don't even get me started on their Uber ego. It's like people reach a certain amount of followers and all of a sudden they can't use Uber X. Ew, we can't pull up to this party in a Prius. Order an Uber Black. Why would we spend $250 to pull up to a party when we could spend $19.99? Half the cars that you see these people whipping around are rentals and they're spending like $300, $500 a day just to whip it around and try to act like they're somebody they're not. Babe, just because you hit 200K doesn't mean you need to go and get a C300 from Mercedes. Like, it's okay. You can drive your paid off Toyota. Maybe 1 out of 10 of my friends actually cooked their meals at home. Everybody was constantly going out to eat or hiring private chefs. When you start making all this money, a lot of people tend to forget that it might stop one day. So they're still going on these expensive vacations, buying all this designer, even if it's starting to dwindle, because they literally got used to that lifestyle. Girl, when I tell you, the second I had enough money to buy a property, I bought one. I could only tell so many story times and do so many get ready with me's before people fucking lose interest, okay? I had to be realistic about it. But I could see how most 21-year-olds are not thinking about that. More or less, a lot of these people ran through their money trying to look cool. That's it. And now they're begging for galaxies and cowboy hats. Cool.
I think all these influencers are lying about being rich. I'm almost at 1 million followers. Broke as fuck. Well, not broke, but like I go to my regular minimum wage job every single day, 5 days a week, clock in. That's how I pay all of my bills. Is that my thing? I did my taxes and I only got 3 brand deals this year, each for $2,000, which works out to like $500 extra a month. Amazing, gorgeous. I can never be happier. But I'm just saying $500 a month is not livable, you know? Like, but I am super grateful for it. But I'm saying that's all that I got. Like, you could see, you know? And I think just these influencers are lying to you. I think because they're either trying to sell you a course or tell you how great their life is after, you know, you've insulted them. But there's nothing up here. I'm up here now with everybody else, and I'm telling you that there is nothing up here. And
the reality of being a content creator with over 200,000 followers is I'm broke. I go viral literally every single week. Every week. I got like over 8 million views this past month. I have like loyal fans, you know, but I'm just like, yo, I had $101 in my bank account yesterday. Last month, the Creator Fund paid me like $70 because I make a lot of short form videos that aren't over 1 minute long. And I'm gonna keep saying this, like, people are not paying Black creators. I have fucking verified companies and businesses commenting on my videos trying to be relatable and shit. And it's just like, you guys won't fucking pay me. Like, it gets to a point, I'm getting like really frustrated because this has been my career for a while. Like, I used to make a lot more money on social media. And I feel like as my platform grows bigger and bigger, people get this idea that like, you must be doing very, very well, like even better than before. And I'm just like, dude, what? Anyway, if you want to literally send me money, because I'm just like...
How the hell do you go from making $350,000 a month as an influencer to now where you're on this app crying that you cannot afford your $25,000 a month mortgage? Like, sell your house. That's the first thing most people are thinking when they hear that you're struggling to pay a $25,000 per month mortgage. And also, you're telling me while you were making $350,000 a month, you didn't think that it would have been a good idea to save any of your money, I have no ounce of sympathy for you whatsoever. Because again, there's no way you were making $350,000 and you didn't save, nor did you invest any of that money for a rainy day. That was stupid. Being a full-time influencer is not a stable job. You can be the it person right now, and 6 months from now, no one cares about you or your content. $350K a month, and you're now broke? Yeah, nah, that's on you. You stupid. You could have took 2 months' salary and just bought a house cash, and you would not be in that situation right now where you're worried about paying a mortgage.
Let's talk about the ugly truth about being a one-income, lower-income family influencer. Some people don't understand the whole sacrifice about being a stay-at-home mom and how we have to go down to one income. People literally on the internet want to see you fail. They want to see you fail. They don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you make money. They want to see you struggle. Certain situations where you're broke or you're balling on a budget, people thrive on that. Why? Because they don't want you to reach where you want to go. I'm just an average stay-at-home mom here living in expensive Alaska. People ask, if it's so expensive, then why did you even move there? Just for a different opportunity. We have a good paying job, but even though it's a good paying job, rent is high, food is high, experiences are high. Now that we have a third baby on the way, it's a little tight in our budget here at our house. But honestly, that's okay because I'm making the best out of it. We're making bad, bougie budget meals. Still getting name brands through the TikTok shop because the girl's trying to pull in any money I can and try to keep up with the trends. I may not be able to shop at any fancy stores unless I got a gift card. I may be thrifting all my outfits, but my kids are fed, we have a roof over our house, my fiance works his butt off, and we're thriving, we're happy, and we're living a good life. If you want to watch this journey of me welcoming a third baby, balling on a budget here in Alaska, the beautiful state of Alaska, hit the follow.
Influencers go broke because they confuse income for wealth. When you start making a lot of money very quickly, it's easy to forget that that income is not forever. What's forever is what you do with that income. Are you spending it all on cars and vacations and restaurants? Or did you use it to build up your emergency fund and invest for your future or save for a down payment on a reasonably priced house? Income is fleeting, especially as a creator. You can hit your highest income month ever only to make $0 the next. I have 3 pieces of advice for content creators or aspiring content creators who hope to be in this position. Number 1, you have to budget and know what is coming in and what is coming out. It is even more important now that you know what is going on with your finances. Number 2, take advantage of this time and use it to accelerate your financial goals. Even if you only make good money for a year, 2 years, that could significantly change your life. It could mean that content paid for your entire emergency fund or your entire down payment on a house, or it could have bought you 5 extra years of retirement, 10 extra years of retirement. That is a huge deal. And number 3, don't quit your day job before hitting Coast Fire. And if you do quit, treat it like a sabbatical where you do plan to re-enter. So leave on good terms with your employer, make sure your resume stays up to date, basically have a lot of backup plans. I don't think there's anything wrong with striking while the content iron is hot. In fact, I think it can be really, really smart in certain situations. But I do think having the discipline to fund your retirement first and set yourself up to re-enter the workplace smoothly will lead to long-term success no matter the outcome of content creation. Remember, income does not make you wealthy, saving and investing does. And it is your responsibility to use that income to build something for yourself.
Yeah, they think every influencer is a billionaire. These influencers are all broke. Like that. That's what I said. Let's be real. Like, can I speak really candidly with you guys? Please. Most of these people are broker than if they were working a regular job. Yeah. Like, it's not. Nobody teaches you how to do this shit, bro. Like, there's no handbook. There's no school for this. How do I monetize a personal brand? How do I handle a brand deal? How much should I charge, right? Like, what if they don't pay me? I can't afford you know what I mean? Right, like, that's really how it is, bro. People don't know.
I tell people all the time, like, yo, it's not everything you see. There's the big dogs, right? Nelk and them. But like, you also have to think, they've never even made money from YouTube. They don't even have AdSense. Like, their money comes from Happy Dad. And
that's what people should understand. You can't just create content and make a bunch of money off of things like AdSense unless you're really big. I know people that are doing $1 million plus a month with just brand deals, but they are literally some of the biggest people in the world. It's a small subset of people.
Okay, so I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed that there's a huge influx of broke ass influencers on TikTok that are begging for money, and some of them even being involved in scams. Yesterday, I saw this TikToker who had almost 1 million subscribers or followers, and she was involved in a GoFundMe scam, and the GoFundMe got shut down. And it's just like, the problem with so many of these TikTokers is that, or any influencer, is that they're living above their means. And something that my grandma taught me as a kid that I'll never forget is she said, If you cannot buy something with cash in hand right now, then you cannot afford it. Or if the money isn't in your checking account right now, the full amount, you can't afford it. And it's like, I've seen so many scandals over the years of influencers, from YouTube or any, community that have gone broke because they start to live above their means. And you should never live above your means in life if you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Like, let's say an influencer makes $40,000 in their first big payout month, right? And it starts to become consistent. Okay, great. But then they decide they want to go rent or lease an LA mansion for $15,000 a month, right? And just because they were making $40,000 a month consistently for a while, it doesn't mean that money is going to stay. Because life works in ebb and flows. Life works in patterns. It has ups and downs, ups and downs, and ups and downs. So learn firsthand from these influencers. Definitely do not live above your means. Have a goal in life, a goal you want to meet of the life you want to live, and then take actionable and reasonable steps to get there. It's like I said with the house example, a lot of these influencers, right, the money comes in, but they're taking too large of a leap. Like my grandma said, if you cannot buy it in cash, in full, you cannot afford it.
A lot of these celebrities and influencers may seem like they have a lot of money, but they don't. They live check to check just like everybody else. Some of them, not all of them, but a lot of the ones that portray these lifestyles, like they always going on vacation and they always buying, certain, luxury brands and stuff like that. They don't have it like they portray that they have it online. 99% of these people are using y'all as the method. When y'all buy stuff from them, they use those funds to then go purchase the stuff that they told y'all that they have on hand. And then that's when they ship them out to y'all weeks and weeks later. And a lot of these gurus that be selling these courses, no matter what kind of course it is, all they do is just copy and paste from somebody else. They buy it from somebody else for, $500, $1,000. And then they just memorize it and regurgitate it to y'all like they've been knowing it for XYZ amount of years. A lot of these people are staying in influencer and celebrity homes, which means that there are probably 10 of them in a 4-bedroom house. And a lot of people who have these exotic cars are pooling their money together and sharing these cars. So it's a different person driving that car every day of the week. So please stop feeling like you're behind for your age, because a lot of people are faking their lifestyles.
I just want to come on here and say it really saddens me how many girls have forgot what a real image of a bad bitch is. A bad bitch is not just a nice shape, a cute face, and an empty purse. A bad bitch is not a girlie that loses all her money, does not save her money, and spends it all on her aesthetics, her spa days, her hair days, her bags, and her clothes. A baddie puts her bag up. A baddie invests in herself and invests in her credit. Let me tell y'all something. We have to do better, okay? I have met so many young girls who are not taking care of their credit. If your parents are not teaching you, having good credit is what's going to get you your house down the line, get you that car that you are actually wanting. Stop using them CPNs and invest in your credit, okay? Stop doing things the fast way and do it the right way. It has our heads so fried that we honestly think that everything is instant gratification until doing the right way of building your credit and building your life up and building your business.
This is part 2 of Celebrities Are Broke as Fuck. Okay, so everyone in the comments was like, go in more depth, explain like how they get their cars, their houses, and everything. Okay, we're gonna get this tea. So when you have a mainstream artist, it's an artist that is an entity, that is a business, okay? And that business is basically being funded by a corporation, a label, basically, right? And so what they do is they give this person the amount of money and it's all fronted up front, okay? So it's a big lump sum of money at first. They get this money and it gives them access to the big house, the car. The car's also on a lease, okay? The cars that they get, they don't just buy them outright. They're all on a lease. So it's all on credit and it's all on loans. Some of them do purchase the property, but then most of them are just leasing. So they don't really own anything besides debt. Now, I want you to think of this like a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid. You have this entity here, which is the business, which is the artist. The artist has a team. They have an assistant, they have dancers, they have glam, they have stylists, designers, set design, all this stuff. And it goes down like a pyramid, okay? The further down on the totem pole is the less and less amount of money you get. They get a certain amount of money for the budgets for their projects, and then it trickles down from there. That is where the haggling comes in. If when they're trying to do budgets and they're trying to book a project, they will literally try to haggle down your rate so they can keep more of the money for them, okay? How do they get all their luxury brands? Okay, so the brands will see that the celebrity has a reach. They have a big following. So they will send this artist clothes, jewelry, gifts. As you can see, they send those fake necklaces that like are fake jewelry that you like test the diamonds and all that stuff. All those businesses will send them those stuff for free so they could put it on post, okay? And then the consumers, which is you guys, which is the people that see them wearing this thinking it's cool, is the people that actually pay. Y'all guys pay for the stuff. They don't pay for anything, okay? The stylists want to see them getting posted with the clothes that they gifted them, so then when they put them out, y'all guys see it and think it's cool, and y'all guys are the ones paying for anything. They don't pay for nothing, babe, okay? These brands will literally send them YSL, Balenciaga, like anything, because it costs them nothing to just send it to them so they can make more money through you guys, for the reach of the artist. So it's easy to look on the outside and see, oh my God, they're rich, they're famous, they're traveling, they're doing that. No, they're exhausted, babe. They're going from hotel to hotel, performing nonstop until they're like in their 70s, and they never really reach the peak of where they're trying to go. They just keep going and going and going and going. You don't really see any of them, you know, just traveling, living their life, doing their thing. No, they're stuck to the contract that they signed, okay? And this is how they develop being cheap, because they see that people are just giving them stuff because they have they are famous, and brands are already doing it. So it's kind of like nurturing them to be like expecting that everyone gives them stuff for free or for a post, because everyone's like, just post it, just post it, just post it. It's like, babe, at the end of the day, we don't live off a post, okay? So that is a more in-depth play on that. And some of these people are like the Sean Kingstons, and I got some tea about Sean Kingston and his mom. He was a client of my ex's, and you know, they gave Scamiana, babe. And I'm gonna be honest with you, before they got caught up, they were giving Scamiana. Yes, they were giving nickel and dime, haggling. They did pay their rate at the end, but it did take months to pay, okay? And it was a lot of the mom getting on the phone, a lot of this, a lot of that. We had to go to New York to style him, and it was just a mess. But I just want you to know that there's more than that. And that's just a little insight, because everyone's like, well, name somebody, name a babe. I have plenty of people I can name, okay? But at the same time, I'm not trying to out them. I'm just trying to give y'all guys the tea of what the tea is. Okay, clock it.
I posted a video saying that like now that I have all these followers, like it's important to be real and tell you guys that like there's no money up here. That like none of these influencers have money and shit, and like it's all a lie. Like I'm still going to my regular smegular minimum wage job every single day. And all the comments start giving me advice. I look at them, they're broke. You're broke. Why do you think your opinion is valid on here? Like, I'm broke, but I'm not giving you advice. You know, same people who called me ugly. You're ugly. What? Why do you think you're important?
I quit social media full-time, got a 9-to-5, and I'm the happiest I've been in a very long time. Let's talk about it. I know it's a hot take, especially because most people's journey goes in the opposite direction. I love social media. I've been doing it for 5 years. I can't imagine just not posting at all. It's second nature to me. But the truth is, social media is not what it used to be, and because of that, I no longer treat it the same either. These are conversations that I have with my fellow content creator friends all the time, but they're never shared publicly. And just a reminder, this is my experience, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I wrote all of this down because there is a lot of things I just want to talk about, and let's rip off the band-aid and talk about money. The money is insane. For example, if you are nearing 1 million followers, the starting rate is usually around $40,000 for one post. But follower count does not equal income. I know creators with massive followings that make barely any money, and then I know creators with a tiny amount of followers and they're making 6 figures. Full transparency, my starting rate, we are getting close to 5 figures, which is really exciting, and I'm really, really proud of myself for what I've built. But the part that nobody talks about is that the money is extremely delayed and can be deeply inconsistent. Brands can take 60 to 90 plus days to pay you, and sometimes even longer. Even with a manager bringing in deals, there can be dry spells, and that can really leave you panicked. Now with your 9-to-5, your traditional job, that paycheck is gonna hit your account every 2 weeks no matter what. Add benefits and job security, and you're quite literally sleeping better. And social media could be gone tomorrow. I've lost my account before. The stability from a job feels like a cushion and not a cage. It's let me save more, invest smarter, and I don't feel panicked over money. Now let's get into mental health and burnout. Social media is an easy job. Like the work part, so easy, but the mental toll, it is brutal. You're constantly performing, every moment has content potential. When something flops, you take it personally and you start to question your worth. Hate comments, imposter syndrome, burnout, it all builds. You can go from feeling on top of the world to invisible overnight. There is no boundary between work and life when you are your brand. The burnout doesn't crash down all at once, it sneaks in. Suddenly, filming feels heavy, posting feels forced, scrolling feels exhausting. You're essentially stuck in survival mode because your brain is always just on. Stepping away saved me. The 9 to 5 gave me structure, boundaries, and just mental quiet. I'm not glued to my phone. I'm not overanalyzing engagement. I just live, and it's wildly underrated. Structure over chaos. The more freedom I have, the less I get done. Crazy, I know. Maybe it's my ADHD, maybe it's just the way I'm wired, but unlimited time is paralyzing. When it's all up to me, when to work, what I do, how much I'm supposed to do, I spiral, I overthink, I procrastinate, and I start 5 things and finish none. Structure gives me rhythm and it gives me peace. Knowing I have set hours and clear expectations lets me move again. My brain, I just need that. And let's not forget about the loneliness that comes with full-time content creation. It's incredibly isolating. It's just you, your camera, and a never-ending to-do list. No coworkers, no built-in community, no one to bounce off ideas to or vent to. And since starting my 9 to 5, I've felt more connected, grounded, supported in 1 week than I have months of doing full-time content creation. People romanticize freedom, as you should. But for me, routine, structure, and human connection is true freedom for me. Growth without performance. The biggest shift for me here is me remembering who I am without an audience. When content is your job, every part of your life is filtered through performance. Even your healing becomes aesthetic. You don't just grow, you document it, edit it, and package it. But stepping away gave me the chance to grow without needing to prove anything. To realize that healing doesn't have to be seen to be real. Growth isn't always on brand. My 9 to 5 gave me the basics back. A consistent routine, space between work and rest, and time to just be a person. I walk outside daily. I move my body without filming it. I make my food without posting it. I touch grass, literally and emotionally, and I feel human again. We live in a world where we spend more time watching others than living our own lives. But since stepping back, I realized the real growth happens offline in the small and unseen moments. I stopped performing and I started living. Last but not least, the ego trap. Yes, we're talking about it. Repeat after me. Having followers does not make you better than anybody else. But for some reason, people start acting like it does. They get hooked on likes, brand deals, and attention. Their humility disappears and their kindness becomes performative. Some of your favorite creators, don't get me started on this, but they would not give you the time of day unless you are making them money or complimenting them. I have seen it firsthand, unfortunately. The clicks, the fakeness, the what can I get from you energy. Social media can warp how we see worth. It makes people transactional and distorts how we connect. But here's the truth, your follower count means nothing if your character doesn't match. Clout is not connection, and kindness is not a marketing strategy. So yeah, this is what I have learned stepping back. I'm not anti-social media. I love it so much. I am just more pro-balance and to look at the bigger picture here. And for me, that balance came from letting go of the pressure, embracing structure, and finally remembering what it feels like to live without performing. If you're feeling burnt out, off, or just something's not right, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the world we're all plugged into. Maybe it's time to unplug just a little bit, go touch some grass, and come back to yourself.
I just saw a video on here about a girl talking about the OG influencers that were making like 5-6 figures a month and now they're broke and e-begging on TikTok. And as a wealth expansion coach who teaches you not only how to increase your income but also how to hold that level of earnings, I want to talk about what's really going on here. This is not a new pattern. I have seen this time and time again. I've heard about it many times. It happens to people who come into money relatively quickly. So we see it with celebrities, pro athletes, influencers, people who win the lottery. We have something called our financial set point, which essentially means the level of money that your nervous system and subconscious is comfortable having. Now, the thing about the brain is that it is wired for safety, not for comfort. So in theory, you would think, oh, when I get $1 million, I'm going to feel more comfortable. But the truth is that if you don't feel comfortable with the amount of money that you have now, if you were to win the lottery and tomorrow you become a millionaire, you are not going to feel any different until you do the work to reprogram your subconscious and your nervous system to feel safe holding that amount of money. And what happens when that work isn't done is it can show up in a multitude of ways. But being wired for safety, the brain will try to bring you back down to the level that you are comfortable with, because that's what feels familiar. So some of the ways that we see this show up with influencers is, number one, aspirational spending. This is why we see them renting out these huge mansions and luxury sports cars, and they're spending 5-6 figures a month just on these things alone, either to try and show up as somebody they're not because they think that that's going to give other people a different perspective of who they are and make them feel more worthy and deserving of having nice things, or just to try and impress other people. This can also show up as trying to fill a void within themselves, right? So if they grew up around lack and scarcity and they were told, we can't afford that, we don't have the money for this, whatever, now it can be trying to prove themselves, oh, look, now I have the money, so I'm going to get myself whatever the hell I want. Okay, and that's another way that it shows up. Essentially, they just never do the work to reprogram their subconscious and their nervous system around the level of money that they now have. And that's why these programs are still running in the background, because 95% of our life is being run on autopilot with the subconscious mind. So until they do the work on their mindset, subconscious, and nervous system regulation, we're going to continue to see these kinds of things happening. You have to regulate to the level of income that you want to be able to hold.
She had 2.6 million followers and couldn't sell 36 t-shirts. And before you laugh, understand this. This is the future of most influencers. Because followers don't equal customers and views don't equal ownership. And just because you can go viral doesn't mean you have a business. Now, she didn't fail because her audience didn't like her. She failed because she had the attention, but she didn't have an ecosystem built. No list, no conversion, no storyline, no monetizing, nothing. Now, people like this, I don't call them influencers, I call them content employees. The moment the algorithm stops pushing you, that's when your money stops. Hence, an employee that's just working for the platform. And that's why I keep saying, going into 2026 will not be the year of the content creator, it'll be the year of the content director. The ones that know how to monetize, the ones that create systems, the ones that build ecosystems. Because followers are never your business. Infrastructure is your business. If you don't build an ecosystem, you'll repeat the same story she had.
Okay, if you want to make an outrageous amount of money, you do not want to be an influencer. Most influencers are dead broke because they've got no idea how to monetize an audience. There are people with literally millions of followers that make absolutely no money because they don't know how to sell or make a product. So you don't want to be an influencer, you don't want to do drop shipping, you don't want to do TikTok shop, and you don't want to make a living from brand deals. The people that make real money on social media are the people that have their own product. And your product's already in here. It is a story you've lived through. It's a transformation you've had. It's the thing you're already obsessed with, the thing you're already an expert about, something that your friends come to you to ask advice about, something you already know better than most people. It doesn't have to be unique, it doesn't have to be new, it doesn't have to be special. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna create a page and start talking about your thing, your topic, your niche, whatever it is that you're an expert in. And you're gonna give that information away for free. But you're also gonna sell a complete solution with a product, like a course or one-on-one coaching or an ebook or community or software. Or you can even make a physical product if you want to. Anything that can solve a problem fully. There's software that makes this insanely easy. I'm building one called SubSpot, but there's also Shopify, Kajabi, Stan, half a dozen others. If you can create a product that solves a problem for an audience and you create content that attracts that audience, you will make a disgusting amount of money. And you don't have to share it with anyone. People on TikTok Shop are making, what, 5%, 10%? Influencers are making tiny fixed fees or 2% of spend. You owning your own products, you're making 100%. Build a brand, build an audience, create a product, and learn how to sell. That is it. That is the whole secret. If you can do that, you'll be one of the most richest, successful people on the internet. That is exactly what I did. I made 50 million by serving one niche really fucking well with that exact strategy.
Because honestly, let's talk about it. There was this girl on Instagram. I thought she was rich. Girl was on back-to-back trips. Human hair, nails done, everything. She attended every event I ever wanted to go to. She was out with celebrities. Let's not even get started on the outfits, the handbags, everything. And it wasn't until I made friends with her friends. And honey, they weren't her friends. When I tell you the tea was hot, like shorty couldn't even afford gas. gas, bro. They were literally complaining about her asking them for $20 because she was stranded. So shorty was just on a trip to Jamaica. I think the worst part for me was when they told me she only had like $3 in her bank account. Honestly, this was the reality check I needed. After that bubble burst for me, I really realized I was actually doing well in life. Now every time she posts, I'm just like because she'll really spend her last dollar on getting her Instagram posts and hair and like background, but she can't even afford to eat. Could it be me?
So many of you guys have been asking me to talk about the Tara Lynn situation. The influencer who was once making over $350,000 a month is now struggling to pay her mortgage. I'm not about to sit here and rip her a new one because she is a human with feelings and she's in a position that she's not comfortable in and she's not happy to be in. But let's just say some questionable choices were made. What I saw is that she's a TikToker and a YouTuber, but she made most of her money on F. And I mean, $350,000 is a lot of money. She ended up buying a $3.5 million home. But according to my calculations, if you're making that amount of money, you could have paid the house off within the year. When you're making all this money, like I said in my last video, you don't think it's ever going to end. You think you're going to always be this relevant and keep making that amount of money. And I did see some comments of people saying like, let's show grace to these influencers. Like they didn't know that they would fall off one day because content creation is such a new thing. Actually, there's been YouTubers since like 2009 and we've seen them fall off in 2014, 2015. Monetization has been a thing. We've seen people have the Lamborghinis, the mansions, and then the next second, it's all gone. I feel like we've had plenty of examples to learn from at this point, but financial literacy is not even a fucking part of the American education system. So we're not taught this stuff. And if you don't have a parent that does, you going into the big girl world a little lost. People get bored. They're not going to keep watching forever unless you keep evolving your content. And especially with F, most of the time when people see everything they wanted to see, they're going to unsubscribe and move on to the next person. So all that money you make, you need to invest it, or you need to use that money to make more money, or it's going to just all dry up one day. It hurt my soul even more when I heard that the $25K payment, $17,000 is going towards interest. So she's not actually even paying the house off. It's just going into the air. Those are her words. So why don't we go ahead and sell that $3.5 million house, take the cash and go and buy something for $300,000 or $400,000 in Arizona or Texas or Nevada, not too far from California that you could fly in and out if you need to. And we won't have this problem anymore. And this is where that ego problem comes in. Once you get to a certain level, a lot of people think, oh, I can't have that middle class house. I need to have floor to ceiling glass window condos. I need to have a big fat mansion to throw parties in just to keep up appearances, just to impress a bunch of people that are not actually your friend. And the second you fall off, they're not going to talk to you anymore. If you watched me during my LA era, you would have saw I had a huge ass friend group. I only talk to maybe one of those people now. Something a lot of influencers forget as well is that we are self-employed. We have to pay like 30 or 40% back to the government in taxes every year. But let this be a lesson for anybody that wants to get into content creation as their career. Set aside money for taxes. Prepare for the worst because you can have a 100K month, but the next month you can make $200. There's a lot of up and down, but once it goes down, it can get really bad really fast. So make sure you have that safety net. Take it from a flop like me. It's gonna go downhill one day. People are gonna stop caring. Prepare for the worst.
Seeing the downfall of creators from back in like the late 2000s or like, 2017, 2018, 2019 is one of the craziest things to me because it's like, y'all was the main ones talking about I'm never gonna work a 9 to 5. I'm making $30,000 a month. Girl, what the hell you do with the money? What did you do with the money? Now y'all over here begging on live every day. Talking about I ain't got no money. Go get a job like everybody else.
So I am an influencer who 3 months ago decided to get a full-time job because I'm just not a fan of doing influencing full-time. It did not fill my cup up. That being said, I've seen so many things online recently of influencers being so goddamn out of touch, and from one influencer to another who has probably even maybe said some of these things, like I'm not totally innocent, but now I just vow to never do it because I try to be self-aware. But this is just a message to my fellow influencers of things you just shouldn't say online because you're really not sounding good. And I've seen a lot of it in the last couple weeks. Number one, the to-do list where you say you're so busy and it's just appointments. Just keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself, okay? You're really pissing people off. Don't do it. People don't, that's someone's relaxing Sunday. Just keep it to yourself. You can feel how you want to feel. Your followers don't want to hear about it. I promise you, it's pissing them off. Number 2, I saw this video of someone like being really upset because it's like they're not being paid enough as an influencer, which is crazy because as an influencer, that most of my money comes from what I do online, which I'm so thankful for, but like to say that you're not being paid enough as an influencer is crazy. Do brands come at you with crazy requests for like not enough money? 100%. But to post online that you should get 10 grand a video, I've gotten great deals in my lifetime, and again, I'm so thankful for it, and that's literally amazing that there's this much money in the space. But to outright be like, my videos deserve to be 10 grand. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You can't, don't post that. People make TikToks for fun, okay? This is people's hobby. And you think you demand 10 grand a video? Don't post that. Keep it to yourself. Number 3, it was this video of Dixie D'Amelio, which I actually really like the D'Amelio, so I'm really sorry. But this video, I'm just saying, PSA to my influencers, don't talk like this. Her saying how she just wants to marry rich so she doesn't have to work. Babes is a multimillionaire. Don't say you're so tired of working and you just want to marry rich. Like, you gotta be self-aware, y'all. Let me know. Do you want me to keep making these?
I made 6 figures last year as a content creator, and this year, it's been crickets. And it's a really humbling experience, and you know, I really strive to be really transparent.
Heartbreaking video. This video breaks my heart because a lot of influencers are currently feeling this. They might not say it out loud, but influencer marketing is kind of slow right now. Brands are not really allocating money to influencers currently. It's going to change, like everything else, the pendulum, it will swing. But I wanted to use this moment to talk about financial literacy within influencers. This lady, and this is not to, you know, victim blame in any shape or form, but she said she made 6 figures last year. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And so a lot of influencers, I think it happened to me too in 2020. I made 7 figures, and you think it's going to last forever for some reason. Like the money is just like rolling in. So you're thinking like this is going to last forever. But I'm very grateful that I had a mentor in my life who was like, what the hell, what are you doing? Why are you buying Gucci? Why are you buying Fendi? Why are you buying Prada? Why are you living in a high rise? Stop. Influencers in general lack financial literacy, you know, because I always say influencer marketing is like winning the lottery. If you're an influencer, you get maybe 2 good years, max 3 if you're lucky. And those 3 years is where I know it's counterintuitive. Like you want to upgrade your life so much, but what you should be doing is downgrading your life and saving every penny and investing every penny so that money can work for you. For example, when I pivoted to financial literacy, I haven't really made any income in 6 months almost now, but I have my money working for me. I've invested well because I had people in my life who were like, this is not going to last forever and you're going to have dry spells. So don't make stupid mistakes with your money. So I returned every Fendi I ever bought, every Gucci I ever bought. I returned it all in 2021 and I bought a place, you know, and I invested it into stock market and into like things. It's not just this lady that's going through it. Prior to going home, I went to an event recently, a gifting event with a particular brand. And I was talking to a lot of influencers there, and they're like, things are so slow, you know, like we're just not making any money. And I know a lot of them live in like a penthouse like I did, or like live in like a huge loft, or like they're driving the nicest cars. And if you don't have a backup plan, a lot of these influencers too, they drop out of high school, you know, they don't have a backup plan. They don't have, I'm going to say this as nice as I can say it, as gently as I can say it. No matter how much you think a brand loves you, no matter how close you are to the PR girls, which you know guys know that's how I built my brand, you're just a number to them. That's it. You're a number, and that number needs to convert. And if that number is not converting, or you can put a stain on their brand in any shape or form, they would just delete that number. They would just delete you. Like, you're not important to brands. You're just a number. Simple number in the last stage of capitalism. So while you're making that money, if you're the it girl right now and influencing and you're making good money, like the Monet Michaels, the Alex Earls making $5, $6, $7, $8 million, you need to be investing all that money. Like, I know it sounds counterintuitive because as an influencer, you want your life to be aspirational. You want people to look up to you and say, oh my God, look at her. She's on a yacht. Oh my God, she got a Birkin. I get it. I just got my first Kelly too. I get it. But what you really need to be doing is downgrading as fast as you can. So if you live in a penthouse, start moving into like a studio apartment. If you drive a G-Wagon, sell it until that money is producing more money for you. My heart breaks for this lady. But there's so many other ways to make money as an influencer. You can start a coaching business, which I have, link in bio. You can do affiliate marketing. You can start your own brand. The goal is to parlay your platform into something else. It's never to get to the point where you are a slave to a brand. Because again, they don't care about you. You're just a number. Your goal is to become the brand yourself, where you can parlay that towards something else. You can launch a product. You can do a plethora of other things. Everyone in my life is not supportive of me doing financial literacy. They think it's so stupid. One, I know that I'm using my platform for better. But two, the whole goal of doing financial literacy is I want to be the first influencer to write a finance book. And I already started writing it. I want to use this platform to write a book that I know in my heart will be the #1 best-selling New York Times best-selling book. And so I have to pay my dues. I have to work for free for the next couple years to get to the point where this platform can eventually let me promote my book. And then I can be financially free for the rest of my life. That's it. I believe in you, and I hope you always believe in yourself. Save all your money. Remember, frugality is what? Frugality is freedom. Bye.
Here's why your favorite influencers that you want to trade lives with probably aren't living as lavish of a life as you actually think. For starters, most people think that you just make money by posting your life on Instagram and TikTok. But in actuality, they don't really pay you anything, maybe pennies on the dollar for views. And there's a huge difference between followers and customers. Now, how your favorite creators actually make money and create a life of freedom for themselves is by creating a personal brand. You see, you create a personal brand where you have a certain demographic or audience that resonates with what you have to say or what you're exuding to the world. Then people get to know, like, and trust you enough to buy your product and service that you're pushing to the audience, and that's how you actually make money. Having a personal brand is probably the biggest asset that you could own in 2026, because once you've cultivated that community and you have something that resonates to a mass audience, then you can create your own business on top of that and sell to people that you're trying to help, and then it's your own. You see, that's where I realized a few years ago that influencing wasn't for me, but creating a business and a personal brand was. So that's why 4 years ago, after the tragic loss of my sister, I decided to create a personal brand where people would want to be a part of what we're doing. I told my story every day, and I started a women's only coaching program so we could impact the lives of thousands of women in a positive way in honor of my sister. You see, I wasn't trying to look cool on social media or get a bunch of views, but I was trying to resonate with a certain audience and help as many people in a positive way as I could. Just by being authentic and consistent, fast forward 4 years later, and I've been able to scale a 7-figure company all through my personal brand. And no, it's not all roses and butterflies. There's a lot that goes into it between employees, customers, financing, systems, insurances, everything in between that you could think of, and every day there's some type of a fire. But I wouldn't want it any other way, and I truly do feel extremely blessed for the life I've been able to build for myself. So the next time you see your favorite influencer get all these views or all these likes, think about a personal brand in the end and see what they're actually doing. And then maybe you might not want to emulate their life because it's just all fake.
There's a lot of conversation about content creators going broke. There are a lot of content creators that's going broke, but I guess it's a little different for me because when you're raised in the inner city of Detroit and you don't really have anything, you kind of approach it a couple different ways. So for example, I just kind of look at it as points on a board. I don't have no pride when it comes to getting a regular job. People acting like just because they had a little bit of visibility or they was popping on the internet that they can't get a regular job. Like, where they do that at? I'll still work a regular job today. I'll still go and work an overnight shift. It really doesn't matter how much money that I have, because for me, again, it's all points on the board. I don't ever want to go broke, but at the same time, I'm not immune to going back to being a software engineer. I'm not immune to, you know what I'm saying, going to get a regular job. I don't mind DoorDash and Uber Eats and driving for Uber or Lyft if I have to. So all of this pride and then worrying about what other people think on the internet is weird to me. Because how you gonna worry about people that ain't never been there? At least you got there. So you gotta leave it all on the floor. Do I think that people need to be more financially savvy? Absolutely. When you get it, you're gonna have to get it out of your system. A lot of people in the earlier parts of getting these big checks, when you start to get big checks, and checks are relative, when you start to get this stuff, you're gonna have to get it out of your system. The first year or two, if you're able to survive through that, you just gonna spend it, you're gonna blow it. You're gonna buy all of the things that you never knew you needed and wanted, and then you're gonna start to have a conversation about how you can maintain it. That's when you start to make the investments. And of course, I think that people should make the investments beforehand, before they ever go broke. But to see people reading comments of content creators going broke as though they wouldn't do the same thing, I don't believe you. Because everybody say the same thing until they get the money, until they get the visibility. And so the better conversation I think to have is what happens after you get there. How do we create the lessons that allow for people to not make the same mistakes as people that came before us? Thankfully, I went broke earlier in my life before I got all of this visibility, and now I'm used to it. So again, it doesn't mean much to me. I think people put too much stock in it. People go broke every day. You'll get more